What's up, everybody? It's Robert Rule of Two Review. It's April 28th, 2014, and today, are you ready for some Xbox TV? So if you can remember back to May last year, just a couple of months before E3, at Microsoft's unveiling event for the Xbox One, there was this whole hubbub and hype early on in the press conference, especially with the initiating opening video that they had for the Xbox One, that they were going to start to move forward with some sort of TV, global entertainment sort of initiative. And there was a lot of famous people involved with that that they were talking about. Steven Spielberg was a big one, and we'll talk about him again in a minute. And part of what they were getting at with that was that they were trying to expand with the multifaceted multimedia features and functionality of the Xbox One, how they were going to entertain people and where they were going to bring entertainment. And Nancy Tellem, who was somebody who was hired just a couple of months prior by Xbox to head up their sort of overall entertainment division for Microsoft, really not just Xbox, but for Microsoft. And she took the stage. She talked about what they were trying to do to try to bring, actual television and movie entertainment to people via Xbox as a platform, via the Xbox One. Although apparently not restricted to just Xbox Live and the Xbox One, but that's what they were trying to do. And one of the most exciting things they talked about, you probably remember, was a Halo TV show. And we didn't know really any other details except for, like I just mentioned, apparently Steven Spielberg was supposed to be involved in a producing capacity. I don't think he was doing a whole heck of a lot of writing, unfortunately, and I don't think he was ever meant to direct anything, but that was everything at the time. We are introducing the Xbox One, we are going to be doing TV and entertainment platforms and videos and shows, and we're also planning to kick this off with a Halo TV show. And at the time, Halo 4 was only, that was just, November, I think, 2012. So really just 6 or 7 months old at the time. It was the more recent Halo adventure, so everyone was thinking about that adventure. And so it just came out that Microsoft just held a big sort of press conference kind of scenario. It was more like a Q&A sort of session, and they showed off a lot of their overall plans for what they're doing with this, which is more than just the Halo TV show. They talked about everything about Xbox TV, and they laid out, basically a schedule of sorts of some of the initial shows and programming that they're intending to bring to folks, and talked about their whole kind of scheme for what Xbox TV will be. So I kind of was going to touch on basically my feelings about that, and more than anything, really, the Halo TV show. Or should I say Halo TV shows? So you heard it right. I said shows, plural. Apparently there are 2 different forms of Halo entertainment that they're trying to bring to us via this platform in the coming years. And so that's what's kind of really exciting overall. I am a huge Halo fan. I've never gotten sick of the series. Just when you thought you could get close to getting sick of the series was when everything switched after Halo Reach from Bungie as they moved on to Destiny to 343 Studios, who took over the series at the time to start what they are dubbing the Reclaimer trilogy, quote unquote. And, with Halo 4, we got what I think was the best Halo. I loved Halo 1. I loved Halo Reach. I thought those were masterpieces. But Halo 4 was a whole new ball of wax. That was just, to me, as a Halo fan, it was amazing. Now, I recognize if you're not really a Halo fan, or, even an Xbox fan, because that's how people think about things, that you probably don't even care that Halo was taken over by a new team and was really good, and you don't even care about the story, the characters, or any of that stuff. I mean, I get that. I think it's sad, but I get it. We all like the things we like, and we don't like the things we don't like. But again, for Halo fans like myself, Halo 4 was like a revelation. I thought it was just a fantastically cinematically told story. The way that Master Chief's relationship with Cortana was both represented and evolved in that story was mind-blowing. That was, to me, the crux and the hook of that game. More so than the great gameplay, better than it's ever been, and the fantastic visuals or any of that stuff, seeing and watching and hearing Master Chief and Cortana interact with each other and form this, I shouldn't say form this bond, because the whole idea is they'd already had this bond, but they really evolved that bond into something more deep and special. That was what had me hooked. I just couldn't get enough of it. So there's a few different things that we can take away from that. One of them is that we really can take away from Halo 4 the fact that there is a very cinematic and emotionally charged story happening there that we could see evolve on screen. Of course, that comes with a few caveats. I mean, what we would see on screen, would it be a retelling or reimagining of the story we've seen in the games? Would it be a continuation of the story and the characters we've seen in the games? Or would it be completely separate and just a bunch of regular people set in the Halo universe? Now, I won't lie, I kind of don't want it to be that last thing. That's probably the least exciting to me because it's really Master Chief and Cortana and the established universe that I care about the most. That being said, yes, Halo Reach did work in the sense that we had all brand new characters that we were dealing with, mostly brand new characters, and that we were dealing with in that game, and that worked. It definitely worked. I thought that Halo Reach was fantastic. But in this respect, thinking about the TV shows and all that stuff, it's a little bit different, and I don't want them to necessarily branch off. I would like it to be something that, in a perfect world, I want it to really be something filling the gaps maybe between games. I want it to be involved in the main story, without taking away from the main story, without changing the course of the story, and without having to be just its own separate thing thought of away from the games. You know, I really think that there's a huge potential to just fill in the gaps, kind of just like what the Clone Wars TV show does for the Star Wars films. So the two different Halo shows, let's talk about those for a minute. So what's apparently happening is, let me pull the article up. So there's a bunch of information on IGN. Of course, I get most of my information from IGN. And there's a discussion about both a Halo TV show and something that is being referred to as a Halo digital feature. And we don't know a whole lot about that. I'm going to read some of the stuff it mentions about the shows here once I get it. So this is direct from IGN, so we can kind of just go off of what it is that they're talking about here. So it's a Halo TV series. This is not the digital feature, the TV series. IGN writes, the Halo television series is a groundbreaking original series based on the award-winning Halo franchise. Award-winning filmmaker, director, and producer Steven Spielberg will executive produce the live-action TV series created in partnership with 343 Industries and Amblin Television. Okay, so it's great because that confirms Steven Spielberg in an executive producing capacity, so that's good. We were able to figure that out on the video. Also, it's live action, we know, so that's pretty interesting. I think that's good to hear. And here's what many of you may not have noticed, but it says it's in partnership with 343 Industries, which of course we know is the developer behind Halo 4 and the, as of now, forthcoming Halo games, and Amblin Television. So Amblin Television is a subsidiary of Amblin Entertainment. Amblin Entertainment is Steven Spielberg's studio. They brought us E.T. and a couple other Steven Spielberg films over the last few years. They really were a little bit bigger, more prevalent in the 80s and 90s, not so much nowadays, but they've been around this whole time. So that kind of helps you understand, you know, both Spielberg's capacity in the show, as well as probably the direction and tone of it and what it is they're trying to do, knowing that it's going to be live action. Of course, you know, mum's the word on all the freaking details because no one ever wants to give you details about anything anymore until it's 3 months away. So heaven forbid we know exactly what they're planning to do, what characters are going to be involved. They told us it's live action, again, which is fantastic. I mean, we couldn't be more thrilled to know at least that. I think that that's going to work really well. But why not tell us if it's taking place during the games, after the games, about the games, separate from the games? Is Master Chief there? Is he not? I mean, let us know this stuff. I mean, no one else has access to make Halo stuff, so no one can rip off your ideas. You know, I just think that it's kind of strange they wouldn't just let us know this stuff now. But who knows how early in development it is? Maybe they really don't even have that stuff hashed out. I mean, we have to consider that. But I think it's really exciting that Spielberg is going to be involved. Like I said, I'm a huge Halo fan, so I'm really excited and glad to know that some more content is coming in the form of a TV show. I think that the potential is there for it to be great, so I'm excited for it. Of course, if it was something that we really couldn't see working too well on screen in a television or movie capacity, then I would understand being a little bit sort of, you know, wary or having some trepidation walking into it. And if you feel that way, I guess I understand. But myself, like I said, especially after how Halo 4 was handled cinematically, I feel like the structure is there to tell a great story on screen. Now, the Halo digital feature, I'll read for you the quick thing that they mentioned about that. So this is also what IGN writes about the Halo digital feature. 343 Industries and Scott Free Productions, which is Ridley Scott's production company, by the way. Ridley Scott of Alien and Prometheus fame and a couple other things. I like Ridley Scott quite a bit. He's actually a dick in real life, but I like his films. So 343 Industries and Scott Free Productions are creating a Halo digital feature to be released later this year, 2014. This project will be executive produced by Ridley Scott and Scott Free TV president David Zucker, someone else you may know. And then Sergio Mimica Gezan from Battlestar Galactica and some Heroes episodes will direct it. So not a whole lot of information there, except that we know that Ridley Scott is involved in a producing capacity. So What we're learning is they've got some really big Hollywood names behind both the Halo TV show and the Halo digital feature. Two people who I really, really like a lot and I think are really talented. And, Ridley Scott, if you think about it, he's really well suited for a Halo-esque type of sci-fi space action story on screen. When you look at some of the films he's made, when you look at the original Alien and, again, Prometheus a couple of years ago, which I know a lot of people hated. I actually love Prometheus. If anything, think of the look and the tone of Prometheus. I think that could translate into a Halo film, Halo TV series, I should say, pretty well. But again, here's the other thing is you've probably been noticing they're calling it a digital series, and no one really knows a digital feature. And no one really knows what that means. And so in this exact article, someone from IGN was talking to Nancy Tellem about this. And, basically, what does it mean that it's a digital feature? They asked if it's going to be similar to the Forward Unto Dawn shorts that came out for Halo 4, which was a pretty cool animated sort of collection, very similar to how the Animatrix was handled for the Matrix. And it was really cool. And of course, the same BS that we normally get in these kinds of scenarios. Tellem only said that it was a digital feature and left it at that. She basically confirmed that and said nothing else. We don't know if it's going to be episodic or if maybe that is going to be something that's going to be exclusive to Xbox Live and Xbox TV or what have you. So it's really unfortunate we didn't get more details about that. But overall, what's good to know is we at least got confirmation that it exists. It's being called a digital feature, and Ridley Scott's involved. And, I think that it could be a lot of really cool things happening there. So there's lots of other information coming out about this overall, and I'm not going to get too much more into the details. It's really the Halo stuff that got me excited that I wanted to talk about, and that I assumed maybe you would want to hear about if you're an Xbox, Microsoft, or Halo fan. But this gets me thinking about one other thing that I wanted to bring up before I end the video is in thinking about how Microsoft is working to integrate Xbox TV, which I believe they're calling it, Xbox TV or this sort of media platform, what have you, into everyone's homes, into Xbox One and Kinect features as some sort of digital programming that they're trying to bring entertainment to people, it gets me thinking about a specific game revealed 2 years ago. And that, was it last year? Maybe it was last year. Anyway, it's a very specific game. It's called Quantum Break. And if you remember Quantum Break, which now I think I'm remembering was actually revealed at the same Xbox One press event initially, that was a show that, with very, very minor details, was being talked about as some sort of bridging the gap, you could say, of TV entertainment and game entertainment. So it used sort of a live action introduction to the game with like a little girl and her family. And then all of a sudden it cut to game sort of cinematic footage or something where people were able to stop time and in the midst of disasters and yada yada. And they were referring to it, and it was being billed as some sort of cross TV, cross game sort of experience. And, that was by, I think, Remedy, I want to say Entertainment. I think it's Remedy Entertainment. But Remedy, the folks who brought us Alan Wake, a game which I loved. And we haven't really heard much about it since. But here we have this whole Xbox TV initiative happening all of a sudden. And now I'm thinking back to that game, and I'm wondering if at E3 this year or sometime soon, if we're going to finally get more concrete information about Quantum Break, and if they're going to confirm that this sort of TV scenario that they're doing for Xbox TV and Quantum Break as a game are going to somehow work together. I think that it's really exciting to think about how that could happen. Again, I really like and trust Remedy, so I feel like they're going to make a very good game. I don't know about this whole Xbox TV thing overall. They say, again, it's not supposed to be exclusive to Xbox Live, so they're probably not trying to limit their audience there, but I don't know if that's going to really stick or not. We'll see what they do there. But when it comes to using something like a game like Quantum Break to sort of work and coincide with the functionality of Xbox TV, you'd have to think that's going to be something exclusive to Xbox Live. And that could be a really neat way to sort of move the gaming genre forward. If they do the right things, then I think that it could be great. Now, I know what a lot of you may be thinking is sometime last year, I can't remember the name of it, Defiance or something like that. There was a game and a TV show, sci-fi TV show, that released together where they were trying something where the game was like this persistent online world, and the show was a show that was just happening with an episode a week, and they were like working in tandem with each other or trying to. I really can't remember the name. Maybe Defiance is right. I'm probably wrong. Either way, you probably know what it is. I would have looked it up beforehand, except it only just now came in my head as I talked about this, so forgive me. But either way, that was kind of a similar sounding idea, right? It's like it's a show and a TV show. I'm sorry, it's a TV show and it's a game happening at the same time, and the experiences are affecting one another. And it was a really cool concept that, as I understand, really wasn't done very well, but it was the first to try it. So I think that it's okay for the first one out of the gate to sort of stumble a little bit. I mean, I feel bad for the guys who worked on that stuff and maybe didn't get any success out of it, but I think that we can at least hopefully stop to appreciate what it is they tried to do. And if this Quantum Break theory of mine turns out to be true, then we know that this other game, which I'll just call Defiance because that's all I can think of, that this Defiance game really kind of broke the mold and started the trend. And if Quantum Break is successful, you bet your ass we might see more of that stuff going forward. Definitely with Microsoft. For all we know, Nintendo has Nintendo TV. Maybe they find a way to improve that and make that work in tandem with the game. And who knows, maybe that could slowly become some sort of future for game and entertainment telling, storytelling. I think that it's a really cool idea. So that's just sort of my personal theory. I want anyone listening and watching to remember that game Quantum Break and see if that ends up being something that's tied into the Xbox TV sort of experience that they're going to try to push forward with Xbox Live and the Xbox One. All right, guys. Well, that's all for the Microsoft and Halo TV news for today. So thanks as always for tuning in. If you like what I'm doing, you can subscribe to the channel, like and share the video, or share your comments and your thoughts below. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, I'll catch you next time.